In delivering on its developmental mandate, Mr. President, in pursuing the social and economic outcomes that we desire, government is ready to forge a new growth path and to work tirelessly to build a future in which all South Africans can take pride and share in the benefits. Our privilege today, Mr. President, is to elaborate on some of the economic and fiscal dimensions of the challenge you have set us, and to share with this House and indeed all South Africans the spending and revenue plans and some of the projects and programs that the government will undertake over the period ahead. Mr. Speaker, and let's look at the global recovery and South Africa's economic outlook in this context. Mr. Speaker, in the past year, the world economy has gone through its deepest recession in over 70 years, as we all know, brought on by a crisis in the financial sector, indeed greed in the financial sector. In developed countries, an estimated 34 million people have lost their jobs globally. Through a coordinated effort by the G20 involving extraordinary fiscal and monetary policy interventions, a depression has been staved off. After declining by 0.8% in 2009, the world economy is expected to grow by 3.9% this year, driven largely by the momentum of China's industrial expansion, urbanization, and modernization. Yet many commentators caution that these positive trends may be short-lived and that the world economy may yet experience a second recessionary wave. So we are not out of the woods yet. Employment creation in developed countries remains weak. Large fiscal deficits and emerging asset price bubbles in Asia signal that the recovery is still fragile. As with the boom period prior to 2008, the global recession will entail sweeping changes to the world economic landscape. Major industries from automobiles to telecommunications and energy are undergoing rapid restructuring and evolution. What about South Africa? Domestically, after 5 years of strong growth, during which about 2 million jobs were created, our economy shrank to an estimated 1.8% last year. Mining output fell by about 7%, manufacturing by over 12%. Consumption and private investment contracted. About 900,000 people, as we know, lost their jobs. Members of the House will recall that in October last year, in tabling the medium-term budget policy statement, I indicated that recovery from this deterioration will be slow and uneven. We projected that growth this year would be just 1.5%. We've got some better news for you. However, things are looking slightly better. Our growth expectations for 2010 is now 2.3%, rising to 3.6% in 2012. Household consumption expenditure will improve during the course of this year as confidence improves and household debt levels abate. We expect gross fixed capital formation to record growth of 5.8% and to strengthen further in 2011 and beyond. The most recent economic statistics show an increase of 89,000 jobs between September and December last year. Consumer price inflation has declined over the course of the last year and is expected to remain around 6% over the period ahead. These are indeed significant improvements in the economic outlook, but we must be cautious and yet not enough to address our challenges of jobs, higher growth, and poverty reduction. It is for this reason that we have to look beyond our current ways of doing things. The recent crisis and its aftermath have led to a serious introspection and rethinking of what were thought to be robust and superior economic models indeed throughout the world. We signaled in last year's medium-term budget policy statement that South Africa needs a new growth path, and we outlined several key elements in the growth strategies of successful nations around the world. Since then, there have been robust debate on several aspects of economic policy. There is substantial agreement that our key challenges are job creation, poverty reduction, and faster economic growth. So the question is, what is to be done? A slogan familiar to some of you in this House. Allow me to quote from COSATU's recent statement, and I quote, "Unemployment remains far higher than in any comparable country in the world, and as a consequence, poverty is widespread, and we now have world record levels of inequality. It continues, it is essential that we urgently adopt a completely new growth path to transform our economy into one based on labor-intensive industry and one that meets the basic needs of our people, end of quote. We agree with COSATU. I'm sure all of you do. Our economy needs to be transformed to meet the needs of all our people. We also agree that growth on its own is insufficient to solve our unemployment problems. We need to expand the capacity of the economy to grow sustainably, and we need growth that is more labor absorbing. We also find ourselves in agreement with the CEO of Business Leadership South Africa, who wrote the following in this week's or the past week's Sunday Times, and I quote, "The fact is that South Africa is not making sufficient progress because there is no shared vision that prioritizes growth as a national goal. The first step would be for society led by government, but with business, labor, and civil society in close support, to agree on a vision of doubling the size of the economy within a generation," end of quote. Together with jobs, of course. Mr. Speaker, it is time to put aside our differences and recognize that we have a shared vision of a new economy in the making. We have a shared intent to expand income and employment over the period ahead. We have a shared appreciation for the role of investment and enterprise in underpinning growth. And we share a common commitment to improve service delivery and build a competitive economy. This budget outlines several aspects of a new growth path for our country. And stay with me because these are quite important. Firstly, it's a concerted effort to reduce joblessness amongst young people in South Africa. The President yesterday explained